Hey, how we doing? How's it going tonight, everybody? See, I muted it before and it didn't work. Hi. I'm still waiting on John. I know they had a lot going on. They just got back from Aquashella late last night, and I'm sure the time just got away from them. So we're waiting for John to come in. I'm sure he'll be here soon. So I'll just do my spiel and get all that stuff out of the way while we're waiting. So, hey, everybody. Good to see you all. Mike's in here. James is in here. Good to see you, buddy. Awesome streams you did from Aquashella. Thanks so much for doing those. Excuse me. All you guys, you did so many amazing streams. I felt like I was there almost. But at the same time, it really made me want to be there very badly. I felt like I made a mistake by not going. Just, you and Science Gal and Drew and John and Lisa, Ed, just Jess from Maine's Tails, Fins and Furs. Everybody did such an amazing job of showing us what it was like to be there. I can't say thank you enough. So hopefully I'm going to I might go to the Chicago one. I'm hoping they do something in New York this year, some kind of thing, some kind of get together. So, hey everybody, I'll run through real quick. Little cough tonight. I see Eric Furlow, James, Mike, Tony. Oh, hey, there we go. Hold on a second here. And let's add this guy in. There he is. Hey, John.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, can hear you.
I am so sorry. I didn't think we were starting until 7. I thought I was here early.
No. Oh.
Oh, I feel like a total jerk.
Maybe I didn't explain it well enough. It's always 6:30, but that's okay. No biggie.
No, that is totally. It's my fault, not yours. I'm used to everybody starting at 7, and when you said 6:30, I thought, because I always tell people if I'm having a guest, I say, hey, come a little early. We can get things straightened out. I'm sorry. What a jerk I am.
Yeah, you are. But that's all right. I knew that.
Good. At least you're not surprised.
No, it's good to see you. And don't worry about it. It's not a big deal. No big deal at all. I wasn't even sure. I thought, with everything, I knew you were coming, but I didn't know if you had a lot going on. You guys got home late last night. You had a big weekend. Congratulations on getting married.
Thank you very much. Yeah, it was a huge weekend. It was pretty much nonstop from Wednesday all the way until, well, really now, because we got home late yesterday, and then we have to catch up on everything today.
Yeah.
So it was just kind of getting settled down.
Well, I appreciate you coming in so much. I mean, I have 450 subs or however many I have. You have a third of a million. I appreciate, you taking the time to come in and talking to me and letting us get to know you a little bit more. I love doing these interview things. I've learned so much about some of my heroes on YouTube, and you're one of my heroes on YouTube. You and Lisa both. I really enjoy watching your streams. I don't interact with the chat as often because it's just so crazy. It is just so crazy. You guys routinely pull in 700, 800, 1,000 people in your chats. It's just crazy. It's amazing. There's so many people. So thanks for being here.
Oh, that's not a problem. I've always, anybody that knows me, we've never met until this very minute, but anybody that knows me would tell you I don't look at numbers and all that. I mean, of course I do. It's how I make my living. Numbers are extremely important, but I don't look at numbers to determine whether or not somebody is worth my time. That's not the way I look at things. And that's one of the things that was so great about this weekend. I mean, I'm assuming you're going to probably want to talk about that quite a bit, but it was such an amazing thing, just a giant group of people that we were all the same. It wasn't like, oh, these people go over there and those people go over there because of numbers. It's just, we're all part of the same team. And I love that. That's how I've always wanted it to be. So
bunch of fish nerds.
To be honest, I've seen you in the chat. I've seen a couple of your streams that you've done. I couldn't have told you before signing on here how many subscribers you have. I mean, I really don't care. It's not something that's important to me. So
it's just it's just the fact that how do I put this? Because it's not, you're just a guy. You're just a guy, but at the same time you're you're up there. You're everybody. You're a celebrity in the fish tube community. You are a celebrity. And you're making that face, but you are.
Well, I mean,
so it's just cool. It's just
the
cool.
beautiful thing about this community is I can go to an event like what I went to this weekend and feel like a celebrity for the entire weekend. But then I come home and then I'm just that schmuck that never leaves his house and works out of his garage, So it's cool, but I don't have any paparazzi following me around.
Yeah, you still had to take the garbage out when you got home.
That's right. Yes, I got to behave mama's rules.
So speaking of that, for anybody that doesn't know, and I can't imagine anybody here that doesn't know who John is, but John and Lisa have KGTopicals. They run keepfishkeeping.com, right? I got the name right?
Thank you so much for getting that right. Yes.
And John just got married this past weekend to his beautiful wife, Lisa. And you're beautiful too, but she has nicer hair. So,
hey, I mean, I'm realistic. I know which one of us is easier to look at.
Lisa's in the chat too. Good to see you, Lisa. And I see Chris Biggs. Now, so here's how we normally do things. Tonight might be a little different because of Aquashella, but normally I don't look at the chat at all the whole first half hour. It's just going to be John and I. We're going to be talking. We're going to be learning more about John. What makes him tick outside of the hobby, maybe not focusing on the hobby so much. And then the second half hour, we'll open up the chat to questions and, let people in the chat if they've got certain questions. Now, again, tonight's going to be a little bit different because Aquashella. There was a huge event that just happened. So I think we should talk about that a little bit first before we get it, if you don't mind.
Oh, hey, this is your show.
Who John is.
Tell you the same thing I tell everyone. I am wide open. You ask whatever you want. This is your show.
So we obviously stay away from politics and religion, but other than that, we'll get into all your different kinks and your fetishes and all that.
Oh boy, this will be fun.
Now, Aquashella was cool. The stream you did Thursday night, was it, when everybody came around? That was really cool. And I was saying that earlier. It was just everybody did such a great job with the live streams. You guys, Fish Room Fever, Chattanooga Ed, Jess, Drew. I mean, just all these people. I'm sure I'm missing people. You made us feel like we were there. So I really, really appreciate that.
Don't thank me. All I did was sit there. All of the other people were the ones, like you just said, Ed and Jess and Fishy Biz and all of them, Fish Room Fever. They were the ones walking around actually showing everybody everything. I just sat in one spot the whole time for my stream. But yeah, it was a blast. And everybody did a good job of kind of, giving the people who weren't able to go, which, let's face it, most people can't because it's all over the country. Or they would have to travel from all over the country. It was a really good job of giving you a real good idea of what the place was like. So
yes,
yeah,
100%. I agree with you 100%. And you're very good at sitting.
Oh, I'm a pro at it.
I didn't get to see your talk yet, and I don't even know what it was about. What were you guys giving a talk on?
Well, it's an interesting story. It's funny you said we're not going to bring up politics or religion. I have to mention the word religion. I originally had the idea that I tossed around with Lisa, not with her being in it, but just me. I wanted to do a talk that was all about how deep and how powerful this hobby is and how this hobby can go beyond, like, almost like the word hobby is insulting. Like, this is something that can have such a humongous effect on people's lives. And I wanted to talk about that. And I was going to title the talk, The Religion of Fish Keeping. And that's what I pitched to Sean Hale, one of the owners of Aquashella. And he was like, dude, that sounds awesome. That'd be great. And then I didn't hear from him for like a month. And then he texts me and says, okay, I got you a spot. When are you and Lisa going to be doing this? And I'm like, oh, I knew that was a no-go. I mean, I'm so proud of her because the last thing I would have ever expected is for her to get up in front of a crowd like that. It was a huge crowd that was there. And I just never expected her to do something like that. So when he said that, I was like, oh no, what are we going to do? And then I said, the only thing I could do was tell Lisa, hey, Sean Hale, he's a bigwig in our industry. He wants you to be up on stage with me. That was I was able to convince her to do it that way. So we did change things up. I wasn't able to do what I originally wanted to do. Instead, since it's her and I, we are a couple involved in this hobby together and just got married the day before or a few days before, figured it was perfect to do the talk about couples in fish keeping. So nice. We told our story of how we became a couple in fish keeping, and then talked about some of the benefits and things, how impactful this hobby can be, not only on people's lives but on their relationship. So
yeah, good and bad.
Absolutely,
good and bad. And I'm jealous of that. I'm so jealous of that because my wife is of 30 years has no interest whatsoever, and she'll come in once in a while and look at the tanks and go, oh yeah, that's nice. And I show her pictures on my phone quite often of different fish, and she goes, before I even show her a picture now, she goes, is there another fish pic? So I think I'm going to start taking pictures of different parts of my anatomy and showing her that instead. Maybe shake things up just a little bit.
You got to be careful with those pictures.
Yeah, hopefully they'll go anywhere else. I don't want anybody straining their eyes or anything.
Yeah, that's a story that is probably more common than not, and it's a question that I get asked all the time. People say that. I'm so jealous, and I say, look, first of all, I got lucky, and second of all, I didn't do anything to force her into it. She just naturally gravitated to it. So yeah, I mean, I've been in a long-term relationship where the other was not interested in this hobby, and it's terrible. I mean, it's not the same as if you have someone else to do that with. I suppose if you have a spouse that's not involved, but maybe your kids are with you, I guess that could be a big deal. But if you're like me, and if Lisa wasn't involved, I would be the only one in this house interested in aquariums. That would be a shame. So,
and that's what I have. I have two of my adult children still live at home, and nobody is interested in fish keeping here except for me. So it is what it is. Not a big
deal. It's not a whole lot you can do about it. You can't force it.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe little by little. My oldest son and his soon-to-be wife are, they're into nature real heavy. So maybe I'm pushing them a little bit. Maybe I'll buy them like a 10-gallon aquarium or something. Just give them a little nudge. Not too much, but they're probably watching right now. So, what was your favorite part of Aquashella other than getting to see everybody and getting to talk with the people? Is there another part of it? Because that's got to be, I hate to put words in your mouth, but that's got to be your favorite. It's just getting to hang out with all those amazing people.
That, I mean, that absolutely was. I got to meet some YouTubers that I had not met yet in person anyway. I mean, I know this is going to sound like I'm just, mailing this in, but it has to be the talk that we did. I mean, that even though it was kind of disastrous, it was not the facility's fault or anything. It was totally my fault. It didn't go the way we had planned, but that's something that I've wanted to do my whole life. I don't know really why, but I've wanted to do something like that. I can't remember a time I haven't dreamt of doing something like that. So that has to be the highlight of it. But I would have been okay if I didn't do that, because I did have such a good time sitting around till 2 o'clock in the morning talking with all of the other YouTubers and all that kind of stuff. That's you don't do much better than that. And the fact that we haven't been able to do that in a couple of years makes it even more special that we could do that.
Gotcha. Yeah. And again, so many awesome people were there. And I saw earlier, one of the mods posted your link to the chat to your talk. So I'm definitely going to have to go watch that tonight. And
that's only available. I'm sorry. I'm not sure if you're a member, but it's only available to our channel members. So
okay.
If that link is there,
I honestly don't remember. I was. I don't know if I still am, because sometimes it goes away and I don't pay attention.
Right.
So I'll have to double check. If I'm not a member, I will be.
I never know from one day to the next who's members and who's not. It's so hard to keep track of. Yeah. But yeah, I don't want if there's somebody in the chat that sees that link, I don't want you to be too upset if you click on it. If you're not a member, it's not a sales ploy. It's more, the real reason we do that is because if I was to release that talk to the public, we would never be able to do it again, because everybody would see it. It's not like a concert where, it's a different thing every time. So we would have to basically retire that. But with channel members, it's a reserved small group of people that would be able to see it, and we could do it. I don't know that we're ever going to do that talk again, but it leaves the window open in case we want to.
Gotcha.
So that's why.
And you want to have content for your membership too. I get that.
Absolutely.
you want to have those specific things just for them. That makes sense. So, okay, is there anything about Aquashella that you want to tell us, or anything specific about it other than what we've talked about already, or anything?
I think I'm a little biased because I love the people at Aquashella, and I love the fact that we were just able to get together and do what we did, having gone through what we've all gone through in the last year and a half.
Yeah.
I have seen, and so I'm going to be automatically defensive. I've seen some people having negative things to say about it. And it bothers me because the people that I've seen talking negatively about Aquashella weren't even there. So it's kind of like, hey, if you haven't seen that movie, you can't tell me you don't like it.
Yeah.
So that bothers me. But it's a beautiful thing. It is an aquarium festival. It's not a swap meet. So if you go to an event like that expecting to get good deals and buy all of this kind of stuff, it's not really what it's for. It's a celebration of this hobby. I sound like a salesman. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be that way. But it was a gorgeous, beautiful thing. And I enjoyed absolutely every minute of it. And I don't think I've ever been as tired as I was after those 2 days. It was crazy. But they did a great job over there. And I know I'm biased, but yeah, it was a beautiful weekend. Not only to be able to see everybody, but just visually, it was a beautiful thing to see the way they set it up.
You're not making it any easier on me. I feel like I made the wrong decision to not go. And I'm really, really thinking about Chicago. I lived in New York, so Chicago's not too far. I could actually drive. I have family in the area. That's where I'm from. So I'm really, really thinking about Chicago just because just everything I saw. It just looked amazing. It looked like so much fun just getting to hang out with everybody. The whole time I was like, man, I should have gone. I was kicking myself the whole time. So. All right. Well, we might talk a little bit more about it as we get going through, but I want to switch gears a little bit and get back to what our normal stream is like. And we're going to learn about you, John. We're going to learn, what you do and what makes you tick and stuff like that. And, someday I would love to have Lisa come up too. No pressure on Lisa, but I would love to interview her as well if she ever feels up to it,
I'm sure she would love to do it, but I have no control over her. You got to ask her. Just because I got this on now does not give me any authority over her.
Well, I was sort of hinting at her because she's in the chat there. So.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure she'd no pressure to do it.
But sometime I would love to interview her too. So, anyways, so you guys live in Virginia, right?
Yep.
And have you lived there your whole life? Is that where you're from? Have you? Born and raised in Virginia?
We grew up in the same area. Basically, we didn't know each other until we met in 2009. But I grew up in Woodbridge, Virginia, which is about 40 miles south of DC, directly south of Washington, DC. And she grew up kind of, she went a few different places, but all in the Northern Virginia area. So yeah, this is home for us. And I have an attachment to it for sure. All of my family's here, but I would move out of Virginia tomorrow if I could. I mean, I don't hate it here, but anytime I go somewhere other than Virginia, I'm like, I wish we could move there.
Yeah. I've been around the United States and New York is home now, but I get you. You get that wanderlust a little bit when you see those places, and just because they're different. If you've lived in the same place your entire life, just moving someplace different, like Roxanne, I see her and she just made a move for the first time. It's invigorating to move someplace different, even if it's got the same fast food places and the news looks the same on TV. It's still something new, it's still, and it refreshes you. It definitely does.
It complicates things now because we've got a grandchild and another one on the way. So, to move away from them would be tough. But maybe we can just convince them to move wherever we move.
So you grew up there. What did you do for a living before you went into the YouTube stuff? I know you did stuff with your hands, right? You built your cabinetry or something. I don't remember exactly.
Well, it's kind of confusing what I did, because I called myself a professional woodworker, but my career went a few different phases. It started out going in mobile to people's homes and repairing furniture, doing either like restoration work or warranty work. When you go to your furniture store and you buy a new piece of furniture, you can buy that extended warranty on it. I would be the guy that would service that. And then in 2006, I think it was 6, I opened up a custom cabinetry shop in Fredericksburg, Virginia, which is just north of Richmond, the state capital of Virginia. And I had that for a while. And then when my marriage fell apart and all of that, shut all of that down. And that's when I moved to King George, Virginia, which is where the KG comes from. That's
okay.
When I moved here. And then I met Lisa, and my life was finally complete. But after I shut the shop down, I went back to getting in my van and going to people's houses and fixing their furniture in their houses. So
gotcha.
That's what I was doing up until July of last year.
I'm sorry. Did you hear the guy mowing his lawn? Did you hear that? It was pretty loud. He's a couple houses over, but I can see him, and it got a little loud there. So
doesn't it always work that way?
Yeah. Well, I guess I could close the window, but I like the fresh air. Have you done any other stuff? I mean, right out of high school, did you get into that kind of stuff, or how did you fall into that type of work?
Well, it's interesting. Woodworking has been my thing kind of my whole life. I fantasized. You're a New England guy, so I'm sure know of Norm Abram, and
I don't.
Oh, I think
I'm so sorry.
You just hurt my heart. He's a god to me. Norm Abram is a guy on television that he's on PBS, and he builds furniture and stuff like that. So I kind of always fantasized about that, but that's a real difficult way to pay the bills. I worked in air conditioning and heating and construction for quite a few years. And then I was a police officer in DC for 5 years. Wow. Everybody's heard all the stories on the news the last 6 months about the U.S. Capitol Police. That's where I worked for 5 years. And then in 2004, I said, enough is enough of this, commuting to DC and dealing with these crazy people up here. Yeah. So that's when I started my business with the furniture repair. So it's
wow. So heating, air conditioning, construction work, police officer, woodworking,
cable television. I was in cable television right out of high school. I've done
doing what with cable, installing the cable and stuff, or running cable.
I was a service technician. I've always been the guy going to people's houses to fix stuff. I would go to their houses to fix their cable. And that's actually when I became a fish keeper, was when I was working in cable TV.
What was it about that just seeing the people's fish tanks or something, or what made you get into it from that?
You gotta watch the talk to find out. That's actually the story I told. No, I'm kidding. My boss at the time and I were really close. He bought 100. It was either 150 or 180, or I don't know what it was, because I wasn't into fish keeping. He asked me to come to his house to help him put it up onto a new stand that he had just built. And then for whatever reason, a few weeks later, he thought because I had helped him put that up on the stand, that's somehow I would be interested in seeing him pick out the fish to put in there, which at 19 years old, I could have cared less. Yeah. But he said, hey, you're on the clock. You can come in the pet store and watch me pick out fish. I said, okay, cool. So while I was in there, I saw a silver arowana. And there you go. That's what drew me into the hobby.
Nice. That's funny. Sorry, hold on one second. And have you had lulls in fish keeping since? I mean, has there been time when you didn't keep tanks, or have you pretty much been solid the whole time?
No, there's been gaps, not huge gaps, but there's been gaps. Like I said, my ex-wife, it's not something that I could get her on board with me making a huge fish room and all,
Yeah.
So it was never really something that was a huge priority, particularly for her. But I mean, I was able to have them, but I didn't have them all the time in my relationship with her. And then there was a gap after my separation from her, and then getting, merging households with Lisa. That's when I almost immediately, like within a month of her and I getting a house together, I got a tank again, and then it's been nonstop since then.
Gotcha. And just real quick, I want to do an aside here. Just a lot of people in. Again, we're not really going to look at the chat this whole first part. Where John and I are just going to keep talking. So if you're saying hi or asking questions or anything, I apologize. I don't want to miss them, but save those for the second half. We'll open up the chat and let everybody ask questions. So just bear with us for a little bit. So merging families together. So talk about that. So you have it's you and Lisa, and who else lives at home with you?
Right now, we have 2.5 kids that live at home with us. And the reason why I say half is because one is in college. She's a college athlete. She's home from college right now for the summer.
Yeah.
So she's only here when school isn't in. Otherwise, she's down there. But then we have a one that's going to be a senior next year, and then a 22-year-old that lives with us. So right now, it's just the 2.5. And you come here and you practically not even think we have kids because you just never see them. Yeah. But they're here. But we have, between the two of us, we have 5 total. And 2 of them have their own places, and, they're doing their own thing, doing really well. And then, like I said, we have the one that's the college student. And then, soon we'll have none, because our youngest is 17 and he is already enlisted. He's going to join right after high school, and so we'll wave goodbye to him, and by then we'll probably be empty nesters.
Nice. All that extra room for fish.
Well, or all the extra consolidating we could do is more the way I'm looking at it. It's always been, we have to have this much house to be able to accommodate all these kids. Well, when they're all gone, all we need is to accommodate us and our animals. So.
Yeah. And do you have plans to downsize into something, or
not if you ask Lisa? I mean, you know what? The biggest thing is with our business is growing, and we're working very hard to get our business to grow, and we're operating it out of our house right now, which is terrible. I mean, you wouldn't know it as far as our business goes, but for us, we've pretty much already reached that point where we can't really do anything else. So we are going to need to expand, and her and I both agree that we want to keep the business on our property. We just don't want to keep it in the house. Gotcha. So it's not like it's spread out in our house. The whole basement in our house is our business. The problem is we don't have the space to really build a nice sized building here. So there's a real good possibility that we will move and move to a piece of property where we can build a big Gotcha. Warehouse on it. And if we grow out of that, we could just build a building right next to it and just keep expanding on our own property. So her and I, it's kind of funny. We're not like picky people that are all caught up in materialism and all that. So when we're looking on like realtor.com and Zillow and all of that, we skip past all of the pictures of the houses just to see if there's a building on the property. Like, that's the more important thing than the house. We can make the house work, whatever it is.
Yep.
We want to see if there's a building on the property. So we'll see.
I understand. My oldest son just bought a house far upstate New York. And we're upstate New York, but they're even farther around the lake. And the first pictures I saw of it, they have a nice, it used to be a garage a long time ago. And I was like, there's a perfect fish room. It's the first thing I thought of. So I understand 100%.
Absolutely.
So the business is really booming, though. I mean, I see constantly people talking about the stuff that they bought from you, the bettas and different stuff. Oh, before I forget, do you guys have plans to expand beyond bettas as far as live fish go? Is it really are you gonna keep to that specific fish, or have you thought about it?
I think so. When I say I think so, I think we're going to stick with just what I call betta betas. I can't get it through my head, but
whichever one.
what I would like to do, and I know this is kind of far-fetched, but I just, my philosophy is sticking with one thing and just being the best at that. And so that's really what we're striving for, is to become the best with the bettas. And then at some point, maybe we'll learn how to say the name correctly, but that's what we're trying to do. And so to start bringing in other fish and things like that, that's just going to complicate things even more.
Gotcha. Yeah.
We'll leave the community fish and all that to Lucas and to Dan, and they can do all of those things. We'll just stick with the bettas.
Gotcha. And there are a lot of good fish fan places to buy. My 75-gallon here is all entirely stocked with Fish Fam fish.
Nice.
I love the idea that we can buy stuff from people we don't know them, but we see, like Dan's fish, we see how he does things and how he takes care of the fish, and there really is a difference than going to just one of the big box stores, or even some local fish stores if you're lucky enough to have one. Absolutely. So that actually was, my question was going to be totally different. Do you have any other hobbies? Do you get into anything else? I can't imagine you have a lot of time. I think between YouTube and between the business and everything else, you probably don't have a lot of time. Do you have any other hobbies that you get into?
Yes. Do I engage in those hobbies as much as I'd like to? No.
Gotcha.
Woodworking is never going to not be a hobby of mine. I mean, but I don't want to go on this whole big pity party here, but I had basically a professional grade shop, all of the equipment you could ever need. You could literally build kitchens and everything in there. I had it all stolen from me back in like 2010.
Wow.
So it's kind of taken the wind out of my sails as far as that hobby goes. Yeah. Plus, everywhere where I would be able to set up tools to enjoy woodworking is occupied by fish tanks right now. So that's something, it's in my blood. It's never not going to be in my blood. But right now I have scale modeling, which I absolutely love to do.
Oh, nice.
I collect quite a few different things, and I mean, that's about it as far as my hobbies go now. I mean, obviously, movies, music, all of that kind of stuff, but scale modeling is probably the thing that gets me away from everything when I get a chance to do it. I enjoy that very much.
And is there a specific type of model you like to make?
Cars.
Cars, okay. Just all different kinds of
yeah,
from your childhood?
Like right now, I'm working on a 1972 Corvette, which is a car that my dad was his passion project, that he restored a 72 Vet. And unfortunately had to sell it. And then the guy wrecked it like 6 months later. But he restored this car from the ground up. So I'm doing this model as a replica of the finished car that he had.
Nice.
I haven't touched it in like a month, but so I try to get cars that are for some reason special to me.
Sure. Yeah.
The next one will be a 1940 Ford, which is another car my dad had. So, that's kind of where I go with that.
I used to do that quite a bit. I remember, I had to be in my early 20s maybe, but I remember making the A-Team van. I remember doing that one. That turned out pretty good. And I did all of those, all those TV shows that were, the Dukes of Hazzard and the A-Team and
what's
12
funny? I am trying to find the white Ferrari Testarossa from Miami Vice.
Nice.
There's actually a model out there that is specifically the car from Miami Vice. So that'll be a project I'll be doing eventually when I can.
Oh, that'll be cool. I'd love to see some of those. If you ever, maybe put them up in the back of your, when you're doing a stream or something. That'd be awesome to see some of those.
I will. I mean, I've got them. I don't have a whole lot of them done yet because it's something I'm just now kind of getting into. So I'm really not all that good at it, but I have them scattered with my other collections and stuff that I have. So
yeah. And you like to collect a lot of different stuff. I know you're into football. You're a Washington football team fan.
I still call them by the other name, but that's
John Riggins. He was good, right? He was good. He was good. I mean, he was no Walter Payton, but he was pretty damn good.
You know what? To me, I remember seeing that run in the Miami Super Bowl, and that kind of sealed the deal for me. That poster of him, which I don't own, but I want to have it. You, not being a Redskins fan, I'm sorry, Washington football team fan, you probably wouldn't know it, but there's a legendary photo of John Riggins basically with his hand on the helmet of a Miami player in the Super Bowl to win the Super Bowl. I don't have that yet, Lisa. You're listening, but that's what's the deal for
Father's Day is coming up. I'm just saying, Father's Day is right around the corner. You know,
that's true. I own one Redskins jersey, and it's John Riggins.
Nice.
It'll always be John Riggins.
And he's by far your favorite, then.
Yeah, I mean, he always has been. I mean, ever since I was 6 years old, he's been my favorite player.
Gale Sayers was mine, and then Walter took over. Walter was my favorite football player ever, and you know, of course, I'm a Bears fan, but Walter missed one game in 13 years. One game, and that game he didn't want to sit. The coach made him sit, and the day that he set the record for most yards in a game, 274 against the Vikings, 275, somewhere around there. He had a 104-degree temperature. They call it the flu game because the man, his work ethic was just amazing. There was nobody that just put so much effort into doing something like he did. So
he's one of those players. He's not like John Riggins, but he's one of those players that if you were a fan of football, you were a fan of Walter Payton. I mean, you had to be.
The sportsmanship, because he would run somebody over and then he'd go back and help him up.
Yep.
That's why they called him Sweetness, because he would he would lay somebody out. He loved to block. That was his favorite part of the game, was blocking other people, because he got to hit somebody else, and he would block somebody and just tear him down and then pick him right up and say, good hit. You know, he was rooting for everybody. So just an amazing person.
I know how weird this sounds, but I literally have chills right now talking about that. I wish football was still that way. I really do.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when.
I think there's parts of it still there. I think we just got to look past a lot, but I think it's still, I still enjoy it. I just got my son-in-law, who's British. He watched this. He actually still lives in the UK. He's working on his citizenship right now. He, this past year, watched football with me for the first time, and because I warned him, he wasn't usually here that late in the year. He usually only stays for 90 days, so he missed out on football season. Well, he got to see the first part of it, and I warned him. I get a little animated.
Yeah,
football is very personal for me. I don't watch with other people. I don't go somewhere and watch a game. I go in the living room. Like years and years ago, when the Bears were in the Super Bowl with the Colts, my oldest son invited a bunch of his friends over to watch me watch football.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Because I'm jumping around, I'm throwing myself, I'm screaming. It's very personal for me. So
I used to be that way, but here lately, it just hasn't been the same for me. I'm more of a baseball fan now than I am football. I mean, I love football, and I always will, but my childhood was all about football. But as I've gotten older and more mature, I shouldn't have said that, because that's kind of insulting to football fans. But as I've gotten older and lazier, maybe is the better way of saying it, it's baseball that is my thing now more than anything else.
And who did you like before the Nationals moved there?
I didn't.
Oh,
I was not a baseball fan. I mean, I followed the Orioles because they're the next closest team. I followed them, but basically because of Cal Jr. I mean, that was really the only reason to be a fan of that team. But I wasn't like a fan. It was like I paid attention to what they were doing, but they were never, even with Cal, they were never really all that great.
Yeah.
And so it wasn't anything that I was obsessed with, but it was the 2000 draft when they brought in Strasburg, and then the year after that with Bryce Harper. That's when I was all in on baseball. Gotcha.
Who's your favorite baseball player then?
Oh man, that's so
that's a hard one.
As far as I'm concerned, if you need me to pick a national, it's going to be Juan Soto. I mean, I think he's the best basketball. I think he's the best baseball player in the world, not named Mike Trout. But that's just my bias because I love that guy. But if you put a gun to my head and said you have to pick one or else you're going to die, I would say Max Scherzer, which is why it breaks my heart that they're talking about trading him because his contract's up. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to definitely cry if they trade him.
Yeah, that's one part that always sucks about any of those sports is, the not being able to pay people. But yeah, I don't know that some of the payroll is out of control anyway. So I think that's part of why. That's the one thing I don't like about football today is that the payroll is just out of control. And baseball's the same.
All sports are that way.
I actually stopped. I was a Cubs fan, and I stopped watching them 2 years before they won the World Series.
Of course.
I've been a Cubs fan my entire. That tells you everything you need to know about me as a person. 2 years, I gave it up. My dad was a Cubs fan, and he passed away this past year, but so at least he got to see it because he was alive and he actually got to see the Cubs the last time they were in the World Series in 1945. But they didn't win it last time until it was 1908 or 1907 was the last time they won it before this time. So at least he got to see it before he passed away. But yeah, 2 years before I stopped watching them, and I just don't follow baseball anymore at all. Just isn't my thing. So is there anything else that you like to collect that's not from that? I mean, you like to collect all different kinds of stuff, or?
Well, it is baseball related. I collect bobbleheads.
That's right.
I think I've got like 90 of them now.
Wow.
It's a very specific bobblehead that I collect. I've got several that are not this way, but I like the bobbleheads that are given away at the stadium at certain games.
Yeah.
So all but one of the Nationals bobbleheads that I have is SGA, which is stadium giveaway. Those are the ones that I collect the most. So we go to all the games that they're giving away bobbleheads at, which is great because it gives the kids something to get me for Father's Day and birthday, which are on the same month during the baseball season. So it works out really good. And I'm sitting here staring at them right now. That's like my possession is my bobbleheads. As silly as that sounds, I love them.
And do you only collect of the Nationals, or I mean, do they buy you ones that are from other team giveaways?
No, it's just the Nationals. I do have bobbleheads that are not Nationals. Lisa and I went to Gettysburg a couple months ago, so I got one of Grant and Lee. Represent both sides, so nobody gets mad at me. I've got a Superman bobblehead. I've got a Flash bobblehead, a Deadpool bobblehead. So, but the Nationals ones is what got me into it. Also, the Washington Capitals. I've got a bunch of their bobbleheads too. So,
you touched a little bit on that. Are you into comic books, or do you just like those superhero movies?
I'm probably into the movies more than the comics, but I certainly do love the comics. But my brain is racing so much, it's easier to just sit down and watch a movie. I can't focus on a comic anymore. But yeah, definitely a superhero fanatic. I mean, that's a gift from Lisa.
Let's put you full screen there so we can see that.
It's hard to see it, and I've got a thing of Hikari fish food blocking it. But
of course,
it's a Superman cover from the 70s that she bought me for Christmas one year. So
nice.
I love that. And then I've got my Ant-Man poster that was a gift.
I did see that.
That's from Sean Peck, gave me that.
Oh, nice.
Yep. And what you can't see on it, because it just looks like a white poster, but right behind here is a little teeny Ant-Man. That's all that's on the whole poster is just a little teeny Ant-Man.
That's awesome.
Of an ant. It's beautiful.
That's awesome. We just watched Ant-Man and Wasp again last night. We're watching them chronologically, all the Marvel movies again. We've done it like 3 times. This is our 3rd time getting ready for, Loki just came out, the TV show.
Right.
So we're all big. We're geeks. In fact, Monday nights, Chattanooga Ed and I do a geek stream where we just talk about comic books. We both pick a comic book, and then we talk about movies and music and TV shows and just all kinds of different stuff like that. So
I would like to be a part of that someday if you ever have guests.
We've had one guest so far, but we've talked about it, and we'd love to have you come up. I know that you're big into movies. I know quite often in your streams, like when you do giveaways and stuff, it's usually a quote from a movie that you got to know.
Yep.
And our friend Riddle seems to be really good at getting them. I think he's got it a couple times. He knew the answer, which we haven't seen him much lately. He's been a very busy guy. Riddle, if you're out there, everybody's asking about you, and we hope you're doing well. I know he just said he's really busy, but still, hate to see him not around. He's an awesome guy. Excuse me. Okay, I think now's a good time, since we're actually 20 minutes past, to open it up to the chat and see if anybody has questions for John.
Do you have a certain time you cut things off? Is there somebody streaming after you or anything? Or
it's I usually do, at least an hour, but depending on the guest, Tuesday nights I go over Susan from SLC. She starts at 7. Alex used to go. I see him in here. He used to go right about 7 or 8 o'clock as well. But so I don't think anybody is going tonight.
I was just gonna say, since I showed up late, I have no problem going over if you want to. I mean,
I don't want to take up your whole night either. So I know, like you said, you just got back.
I am done for the night, believe me, because I had to pack all the orders that since last Thursday. I had to pack all the orders that came in. Lisa helped me; it wasn't just me.
Yeah,
and I'm not doing anything else for the rest of the night.
Okay.
So we can talk as long as you want.
Good. Okay. Well, and again, I don't want to step over anybody. I'm going to take a real quick look. Can you see the chat? Do you have it open?
I just pulled it up. Yep.
Okay.
I've got the one that's on StreamYard. I'm not looking at it on YouTube. I don't know if that's.
If you see something there, hold on. You can go ahead if you see something. Let me. I'm just looking real quick to make sure we're not going to run over anybody.
I am terrible at picking comments, particularly on other people's streams.
I think you're gonna see a lot of names at least. I'm sure.
I definitely do. I see Alex is in here. That's a name that a lot of people have gotten to know over the last few weeks. And good for him.
Alex is a great guy. Alex is a great guy.
I see Science Gal is in here. We hung out with her the whole weekend, shared an Uber with her yesterday. So
nice. Yeah, Carrie and Jesse, very cool people. I got to interview them. Alex says he's going to come up and go hiking the Appalachian Trail. I want to do that so bad. I have health issues, though, that make it, I'm all about kayaking and stuff like that. And I miss it so much. I can't do it.
Interesting story about the Appalachian Trail. It's nothing I would ever do because I'm just not going to do it. But my nephew and niece-in-law, is that what you call them? I mean,
sure.
I don't know. They did the entire trail.
Nice.
They're very, very young, but they did the entire trail with their daughter, who was about 2 years old. They're the first ones to ever do that. They're all over the news and social media and all that kind of stuff.
I know them. I don't know them, but I mean, I read that article about them with their daughter.
It was like 3 years. 3 or 4 years ago.
And it took them quite a while to do, right? I mean, it wasn't.
It did. And I think they've gone back and done it again on bikes, I want to say.
Wow. That's weird that those are your, because I remember reading about them because I was like, you're doing it with a kid. I mean, in one way, it's very cool. I mean, I love that kid is starting off with nature that way, but it's got to be hard as hell to do that hike with a kid. How about from Eric from Furlocity? He wants to know, what is hands down your favorite band? I think he knows the answer to this. Those are hard, aren't they? I can't do favorite anything. You like Tool, System of a Down, right?
Yes, and Stained and Disturbed and Slipknot and Metallica, and I could just go on and on and on. See, the funny thing, Lisa she makes fun of me for this all the time, and I make fun of her for her music too, but I have such an eclectic taste in music. I'll be obsessing over somebody in particular, and then the next day it'll be somebody completely different.
Yeah.
Today it's been John Mayer. I've been listening to John Mayer all day. Why?
That's funny.
Because I woke up in the morning with Why Georgia in my head. I don't know why. I just did. Yesterday was Alicia Keys. I'm sitting here telling you I'm a Disturbed and System of the Down and Metallica fan, but yesterday I was singing Alicia Keys all day.
Yeah.
To pick a favorite,
it's hard. I can't do it. I can't even give you a top 10 in any genre of any type of movies, music, books. There's so much stuff I love. Just like you, today my favorite is this. Tomorrow it's going to be something different.
Right.
John Mayer. Sorry, go ahead.
I could do a top 10, but I would probably that's how I make a living, is top 10s. But
yeah,
I would have to break it down by genres. You know, like an R&B and a rock and country, and I could do that. But
yeah, I couldn't.
If I was only able to listen to one band ever for the rest of my life, it would probably be Stained. That would probably be the one. Or Metallica. It just depends on what mood I'm in when you ask me.
I thought we had one. I thought you nailed one down, and then maybe. All right, let's scroll back up here a little bit. Alex said, "What do you like most about Rick? His beard or his laughter?"
Is asking me that?
Yeah.
The beard and the hair is amazing. My favorite thing is your avatar, because when I see it, you've heard me say this a million times, it reminds me of The Big Lebowski. I don't know why. When I see it up close, it resembles nothing of the sort. But when I see it on my stream and it's the little teeny tiny avatar, for some reason it looks like
the dude.
The dude. I don't know why. It just does.
I've done it for Halloween. I'll have to see if I can find some pictures. I was the dude for Halloween once.
I wish I had your head of hair. That's certainly something I'm jealous of.
I actually shaved it. I shaved my head. I had longer hair. I had waist-length hair. That's where my avatar came from. I have a friend who's a comic book artist, and he drew it for me. And my hair was actually down to my waist. And one day, right after I retired, I took the trimmer and just shaved it, and then shaved it with a razor, shaved the beard. All of it was gone. I left eyebrows, but the rest of it was all gone. And that was about, I retired 3 years ago. So this is the last couple of years it's grown back. So,
I mean,
I've had mohawks, and, I've gone through all different stuff. I was really big into punk. I mean,
oh, see, now you're talking my language too. We could definitely spend all kinds of time talking about punk music. But yeah, if I did that, it would be George Costanza. I mean, I would have like the Woody Allen haircut. It would just be all starting from maybe like here back. That's where I would have hair. So just have to embrace the razor.
It's going away. I figure this is my last hurrah. So once it gets to a certain point, I'll probably do the same thing you're doing. All right, let's see. I'm going to scroll back up here a little bit. And again, I apologize to everybody. I'm sure I missed a ton of great comments. I did see Rack was in here for a little bit, and he had to take off. I always love seeing Rack.
I miss Rack. Don't see him much anymore.
He's a great guy, too. And I love watching that bird thing he does, because I like bird watching, too. So sometimes when I'm doing water change and stuff, I just put that stream on and let it go, and then glance over at it every once in a while. I'm going to skip the question from S, even though it's Riddle's normal one. Well, we'll ask anyways. If there was one thing that you could change about yourself, what would it be?
Can I say hair, since we were just talking about no? Oh, wow. There's so many. I would like, I know how weird this is going to sound. I'd like to be able to relax more.
That doesn't sound weird. I understand.
Now, I sit here a lot. I mean, this is where I sit to not only enjoy my fish room, but this is where I work. My computer's right here. And I don't really relax, because I always feel like there's something I could be doing. I might not do anything, but I'm always processing something in my head that I wish I could do. And then the other would be that I would not have stored all of my woodworking equipment in that guy's garage.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, those would probably be the two things. Again, you're not able to get me to say just one. There's plenty of things that I'd like to change. I wish I would have worn my retainer when I was a kid, so I didn't have crooked teeth now.
Let's see. Yeah, it's hard to pick just one on a lot of these. Stephen, P2003. How did Aquashella compare with previous years? Was it back in full force? That's good.
It was back beyond full force. Nice. They did a great job, and again, they didn't pay me to go there. I'm not saying these things like because I'm affiliated with them in that I was on their promotional material and we did a talk there, but I'm not obligated to them to say these things. But when you consider the circumstances and when you consider that, up to 2 months prior to this event, they didn't even know if they were going to be able to do it. When you see what they accomplished, it is impressive what they were able to do. I think they did a phenomenal job. I don't care what people online said. And it was absolutely better. I've only been to one other Aquashella, and that was in Chicago in 2019, the last one that they did. And it was night and day compared to that one. The one in Chicago was awesome. It was wonderful. I loved it, but it was in a funeral home. I mean, it was like I didn't realize it was a funeral home until somebody told me that over the weekend. But it was one of the things that the building was used for. It wasn't like exclusively.
Okay.
It's not like there were caskets everywhere. They had held funeral services in that building. They also do weddings and stuff like that. But it was very small, the last place that they had. And everything was very, very tight. The walkways were really tight and it was hard to navigate through. This was wide open.
Gotcha.
And it's weird because I heard people actually complain about that. It's like, you complain because it's too tight. You complain because it's too. I don't know how you make.
That's what he said.
It was an amazing event, way, way better than, and I'm just going to say it, any other event that I've ever been to. Nice. Sure, they treated me really good. Maybe I'm biased. I don't know, but I loved every single minute of it.
And I haven't heard any of the negative stuff about it. I haven't seen any of it, but then again, I haven't been watching a lot of stuff this week. But have you heard people on YouTube saying a lot of negative stuff, or just a few people? Or
I heard someone last night on YouTube. His name rhymes with Schmob Schmeen Schmott, complaining about it. But Bob, you weren't there.
Yeah.
But I've heard from people who knew a guy that read an article that saw this thing, and you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
You just hear the scuttlebutt going on. I have not seen it for myself, but it came from reputable sources that there were people complaining that there wasn't enough things for sale. Somebody complained that they didn't like it because it was too wide open, which makes absolutely no sense to me, particularly in a pandemic.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean,
yeah, people just like to bitch.
That's very true.
Some people just like to be upset about things. Some people, that's how they feel they're alive, I guess. Mr. Gromby said he got you and Lisa to sign his poster on the second day, so that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, we did that a lot.
Oh, geez, I went way back. All right, let's see. Carrie said she's still exhausted from the trip, and I bet.
Something just happened to your audio. I don't know.
Uh-oh.
I think it might be back now. It went a little crazy there for a minute. No, you're good now.
Okay. I'm actually buying a new mic. This one was okay, but I'm not getting anything crazy, but I want to get one of this is a Yeti, but it's the, or not Yeti, it's the Blue Snowball, which is like the very cheap model. I want to get the Yeti, which is a step up. It's good enough for me. I'm not too picky.
For a couple dollars more than the Yeti, you could go with the Rode NT-USB. Highly, highly recommend. It's a absolutely wonderful microphone, and I don't think it's much more money than the Yeti.
I wish I would have known that about 2 hours ago.
Oh, did you already order it?
Yeah, it's on the way.
The Yeti is perfectly fine. I mean, you didn't make a bad choice. But yeah, I'm a Rode guy though. I'm a Rode snob. So
yeah, that's your
Rode
stuff.
Makes it, that's what I'm going to say is the best.
Gotcha. I've dealt with the Yetis before, and I like their build quality and stuff. So
it kind of fits your look too. The name.
Yeah. Yeah. I've gotten the Bigfoot. When I first moved to New York, the first winter, I hit some black ice and I had a Ford Explorer, totaled it, wrapped it around the tree. And all my friends at work called me the Lorax, the keeper of the trees, because I wrapped my truck around a tree. They were very sympathetic of my pain.
That's what guys do.
Yeah. All right, let's see. Oh, it just jumped on me. And again, if you do see something, don't hesitate. You can jump
Stephen
in.
P is chiming in again, saying John's using the Shure microphones, cha-ching edition. Yes, and that is true. That's what I'm using here. These are very expensive microphones that are way overboard when it comes to YouTube, but I bought them out of frustration because I was so sick of having technical issues. I said, I'm going to get the one thing that I know is never going to give me any problems. So it was worth the expense for me.
And you said you had technical issues at Aquashella for your talk too, right? Was it sound issues or what kind of issues?
It was, I think we kind of threw them for a loop because there was two of us. And so they were kind of like, uh-oh, you know, everybody else up until that point had, was just one. And I know Tanner Serpa used, I think he used a handheld microphone. Zenzo used a lapel microphone. And I went up to him and I said, you know, I talk with my hands and I'm kind of all over the place. Can I use a lapel mic? And they said, yeah, no problem. And I don't know what happened. It just exploded. It was not behaving itself. And like if I moved 2 feet to the left, it would just go brrr, and it would make all this noise. That's all on the video on our channel members page. But and so they had to kind of pass me a handheld microphone, which is fine. I mean, I don't mind either way. And the good thing about it was that Lisa and I had a special kind of a way we wanted to bring her on. So for the first like 8 minutes, it was just me up there. So I was the only one that experienced while they got everything fine tuned and figured everything out. So once I brought her up, it was everything was all ironed out and it was fine from that point. But
yeah, it's good. It's funny though. Let's see.
Of course, it's going to happen to me. I mean, that's just how it works.
Let's see. Man, it keeps jumping on me. Okay. And then he sings the songs that get stuck in my head, Lisa said. You do that? Do you guys have do you try to get songs stuck in each other's heads?
I was singing Why Georgia this morning, and that got her. She was mad at me later on in the day. She was like, I've been singing that Georgia song all day. Yeah, I love doing that because
it's a big thing here too. All of us, we all do it, and we try to get something really, really dumb. I mean, I go way back. Roger Miller songs, trailers for sale.
Oh yeah, of course.
You know, stuff like that.
She listens to nothing but Lady Gaga, Madonna, and Fleetwood Mac. Which Fleetwood Mac, I'm all in. That's fine.
Yeah.
I enjoy Lady Gaga for about 3 or 4 minutes, and then I need to leave the room. And Madonna is a legend. I mean, I don't care what anybody says, but we have this running joke, and it's weird. It's almost like she does this on purpose. Every time I go into the beta room when she's in there working, the same song is playing, and she swears it's not on purpose, and she's not just listening to the same song over and over and over again. It just I happen to walk in at the right time, and it's the song Alejandro. I think that's what it's called from Lady Gaga. So I end up singing that song all day.
I don't even know it, so I'm lucky.
Well,
not that everybody gets Lady. I mean, Lady Gaga, you know, I've heard a lot of good stuff that she is, you know, classically trained, and she actually is a very talented person. So, but it's not my type of music.
Lady Gaga is extraordinarily talented, and I do appreciate and respect her. I just don't like that song. And she is actually mad at me. She's putting in the chat, how did I get Madonna out of Tom Petty? And that's true. She is also a humongous Tom Petty fan. But Lisa, you're a Madonna fan too. Come on.
Yeah.
And Tom Petty I could listen to all day long. So I don't give her a hard time over that one.
And my wife also is a huge Tom Petty fan. That's probably one of her favorites. I think that's the one she wanted to see the most before he passed. That's unfortunate. She didn't get to see him. Let's see. Eric said, Rico's hair and beard is a national treasure for sure. Alex said Beatles is my go-to answer. Love the Beatles. Yep.
You know, I know this is going to sound like blasphemy, especially to Alex. I've never been a Beatles fan. I'm sorry.
Well, I like them. You know, and if you like any type of music, I shouldn't say any type of more popular music, rock, you know, you have to at least see their influence there. You know, they did change the face of popular music.
So, and I definitely see that. And I'm not saying I don't like them.
Yeah.
I'm not saying they're garbage. They all suck. It's just not really my thing. People talk about Sgt. Pepper's being like one of the best albums that's ever been made. I can't make it through it. It just doesn't make sense to me.
Well, art is so subjective, you know,
right.
And you can't ever say. That's why I have such a hard time with what's the best. There is no best. It's just
it's impossible.
There's just a lot of great stuff. Lav, hey, Lav Snails, always good to see you. Let's see, Greg the Guppy Guide. Any favorite video games? Do you play video games still?
I try not to. Every once in a while, there will be a game that kind of consumes me. And the most recent one that got me was it's a game called Days Gone on PlayStation. It's a zombie game. And I was playing it last night. I mean, I've played through it like 5 times, and my kids will make fun of me. They're like, "You're playing that game again? Like, don't you get sick of it?" I don't know why. I just don't. Yeah. But I play more games on my phone than I do on like the PlayStation and stuff like that. But I try not to, because I always feel like such a fat loser whenever I'm doing that. So, but I'm not going to lie to you and tell you I don't play.
Yeah. I'm playing Fallout 4 for like the 5th time. I'm going back to it again on the Xbox. So I do the same thing. I've been a gamer since late 60s, early 70s. I guess early 70s really, because our first console was Pong in like 1972.
Oh, I remember that. Yes, so, indeed.
Let's see. Texas Fish Room said that would have made it more interesting if the caskets were out. Talking about the Chicago. That would have been cool to make them into like fish tanks out of the caskets. That would have been cool.
You know, the funny thing, I've told this story before about the Chicago Aquashella, and I told George Mavrakis this, who was Coralfish 12G, one of the owners of Aquashella. I was at that event all day. Well, I got there late, but all day Saturday and all day Sunday in Chicago. And it wasn't until like 3:30 in the afternoon on Sunday that I even realized there was a saltwater section at that event. I was in the one place, where they had, it was like a combination of freshwater and reptiles were in there, and pond stuff. And I went to the bathroom, and the bathroom was like in this hallway. And when I came out of the bathroom, everybody was passing me going the opposite direction. And I was like, where the hell are they going? And I followed the crowd, and I was like, there was like a whole other world in there. And I didn't even know that until 3:30 on Sunday. Man. I'm not a saltwater guy, so I wasn't looking for it either. Yeah. But it was an amazing setup. And I mean, I would have probably given it a lot more attention if I even knew it was there.
Yeah. Have you ever been a saltwater guy?
I enjoy saltwater. I admire it. I like it. I've never.
You had one not that long ago, right?
Yeah. I'm real good at keeping saltwater fish. Corals, not so much. But I spent a lot of time this weekend speaking with Than Thane, who is he's got a channel. He's about to hit 100,000 subscribers. The channel's called Tidal Gardens. He's a guy I've been friends with for years. And I was talking to him about maybe setting one up. He was upset because I was saying I would want to do a Fowler tank, and he's a coral guy. He's got like this, when you see it, it looks like a multi-million-dollar setup in his shop that is just, it's the most futuristic, gorgeous coral setup, because it's a store, that he sells online. You should definitely, if you're into saltwater, check out Tidal Gardens. I think he might have convinced me to get back into it, but I don't know. I've never been good at corals, but I definitely love saltwater fish. Was
he the younger kid, sort of tall, that you had on Thursday night? He came up.
That's George. That's Coralfish 12G. He's one of the owners of Aquashella. The guy I'm talking about is Than Thane. He's my age, and he's out of Ohio. He's a saltwater coral retailer.
Gotcha.
So he has a whole farm there.
Yeah, I've never done, even when I kept tanks when I was a kid, I've never got into the salt. Again, nothing against it, just never dove into it.
It literally is a whole other world. I mean, it's not difficult to keep a saltwater aquarium, but I think it's incredibly difficult to keep corals.
And I mean, Bob Kaler does a pretty good job of it. I know he's got a bunch of corals and stuff, and I know James, Fish Room Fever, he's getting into it. He does. Oh, there he is right there. He's doing a Saturday stream I think it's just once a month, a Saturday salt stream now. So, that might help me sort of step that way a little bit, because when I see people not really just starting out, because James isn't just starting out with it, but see people who are, going through the beginning stages of it, I pick up stuff and I think I might jump into it at some point. I'm probably gonna have to wait though, because I've got 10 aquariums in this little room, and this is it. They're all in this. I don't have anywhere else in the house. But when my either one of the kids leaves finally, I say that like I want them to. I don't want them to leave. But when one of them moves out, I'm going to take. They both have a quarter of the basement, and it's a good size. It'll make a great fish room. So then I might do something.
There you go.
All right, let's see. Man, I'm just not seeing the questions.
I see Papa Shrimp in the chat today. He's a guy I met for the first time this weekend. Spent quite a bit of time outside engaging in vices with that man.
Well, we get to interview him next Tuesday. He's going to be our
good. Oh, he's
we're friends on Facebook, but I don't know a lot about him. So I'm really looking forward to that. I love getting to know the people that, Rachel O'Leary, I felt like I knew a lot about her, and I still love the chat. Obviously, it was great. But I like yesterday, or excuse me, Saturday, I had Because You're Fish. His name is Seth. He was my guest, and he does a lot. He sells fish online. He's in a lot of the streams and stuff, but really we don't know anything about him. So it was a lot of fun just getting to learn about him. And that's what my thing is. I like to learn about people and find out what makes them tick and just have a conversation. I love talking to other people. And
that's what's great about these events. Like I just said with Papa Shrimp, I'd never met him before. I'd seen him around, but I'd never met him before. And I met him and I was like, hey, he looks like Danny Trejo. And so I kind of made that joke with him. And then we were talking constantly every time we were outside engaging in our vices. But yeah, that's a good dude. Another one that I had met very briefly, but would have never said I knew anything about him, was Tanner Serpa. That's a guy I've been a fan of for years, but I never really knew anything about him. And it was, I got to be honest, if he's watching, it'd be completely embarrassing me admitting this, but do you know Tanner Serpa? You know who I'm talking about?
The Serpa Designs, right?
Serpa Design, yeah.
I've watched a lot of his stuff, yeah.
I've always just felt like he's an absolute genius. I mean, I think he's extraordinarily talented. And I was really looking forward to meeting him because I knew he was another speaker this weekend, the keynote speaker actually. And so I'm there and I'm standing in the YouTube booth and I'm doing something, I don't know. And I look over and here he comes and he comes to me. This guy's a superstar and he comes up to me. Hey, I'm Tanner. I'm like, you're introducing yourself like I don't know who you are. We hung out the whole weekend. Lisa, I don't mean for this to sound weird, but Lisa fell in love with him because he's so interested in plants and all of those things. So we're sitting at dinner and me and Jason from Primetime are talking this way and Tanner and Lisa are talking the opposite way about plants. It was a blast. Man. It was awesome getting to know him for sure.
You're just sticking that needle in, I wanted to go so bad. And, not that I don't know. I just really, really wish I would have gone. And I'm going to make a really strong effort to go to the next one. Even though, how do I put this? Even though I would just be, I don't know how to put it. I wouldn't be involved in those groups as much, but just being around and seeing you guys and getting to meet you face to face would be awesome.
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I think I'm following what you're saying. This group that I'm talking about, which was Lisa and I, Jason and Joanna, Tanner Serpa, all the Tennessee boys, Ed, Sean, and James, and shame on me, there's a few more too. Carrie and Jesse. We were all the non-partying crowd, kind of the people that are just kind of just hanging out and enjoying each other's company, not dancing, hooting and hollering and breaking windows and stuff, So
wait, Chris Biggs was there?
I didn't say. No. I see what you're saying. No, you went right over my head. But yeah, we're the more nerdy kind of old people sit around and chat rather than going out there and get arrested. So
my people, those are my people.
My people for sure.
Mr. Gromby, what is your two favorite guests you've had on your shows in terms of surprising amount of knowledge? Oh, that's so hard, man.
If you say me, you're lying, and you're only doing it because I'm on here right now. So just don't even consider me.
I wasn't even thinking of you at all. I have to say, though, as I'm answering this question, is I did watch a ton of you and Lisa because again, I've only been doing this a year, back to fish keeping for less than a year. Actually, we're coming up because I think it was like the end of June or early July that I put the first tank together. So it's only been a year. And I watched a ton of your stuff, especially on the nitrate cycle and all that kind of stuff. So I did learn a lot from watching you guys. So
that's good. I heard a lot of that this weekend, and that always tickles me. So many people. You're the one that got me into fish keeping. You little kids. I'm like, first of all, why did you find me on YouTube? A little kid, but it's incredible how many times you hear that in one weekend. It's a beautiful thing. It's
got to just make you feel good. I actually met one of my subs. I went to a fish swap, and I was talking with KGE Aquatics. They sell a lot of plant stuff on Facebook. They're on YouTube too, but he's a New York guy. I was talking to him, and we were talking about Rachel O'Leary, and this lady said, and I forget her name now, but she said, "Oh, I watched that. It was so great. She loved it." And she was like, "You did a great job." And I was like, I mean, that was the first time that ever happened to me. First of all, it's the first time I've left the house in like a year and a half. Secondly, to meet somebody that actually has watched you. I mean, I can't imagine people like yourself that just get that, when you go to these events. One person said that to me, and I was like puffed up all day,
It's really hard. How do I phrase this? It's really hard to not get used to it. Like, after a while, after you've heard it, and I'm not trying to flex or anything, but
at
an event like that, I've been doing this a long time. To go to an event like that, it was happening every 30 seconds. It was just people coming up, "Hey, we love your videos," and I have to constantly remind myself, like, this is the best thing ever. I can't be like, "Thanks, geez," It's never going to be a burden for me. It's a blessing that somebody would say something like that, and it provides me the means of making a living. So I have to appreciate that for sure. And I've told Lisa, if I ever become that guy that's like, "Thanks very much," you need to reel me back in because I'm losing
you down. Yep. Because I'm and you can see that with certain people. You can see that they have become that person. And that's all about them, and it's that's unfortunate. And then there's other people like you guys, like Alex, like Rachel, that are just so genuine, and it comes across. They're not trying to sell us anything. Well, you are. You're trying to sell us stuff, but you know what I'm saying. You're generally out there asking questions. It's all genuine. It's not a facade. It's not a personality, and people think that doesn't come through when they think they're good at it and they can hide it. They're not. It comes through. You guys do a great job of being yourselves.
It's so funny because I know I've been drooling over Tanner Serpa this whole time, but there is no more humble person on earth than that man. I mean, he's just a dude when he's at these shows. And this is a guy that's going to get 1 million subscribers within the next few months. I mean, he's absolutely murdering YouTube. And I cannot tell you how many times I would be standing there with Tanner Serpa. The guy's approaching 900,000 subscribers, gets more views than any other fish YouTuber or pet YouTuber. I shouldn't say pet YouTuber, but any aquarium guy. Nobody is beating him as far as views goes. How many people passed him and came up to me and were like, "Hey, can we get a picture?" And they would hand the camera to Tanner. And I'm like, "Do you realize who you're giving the camera to?" Like, and he would just be like, "Oh, it's no big deal." And he would take the pictures. He wouldn't care. And I know people personally that would be offended by that. Like, how dare you ask me to take? So, yeah, he's a humble dude.
Excuse me.
Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to hurt you.
Yeah, that's funny. That's awesome though. Back to this question. So, who are my 2 favorite guests I've had on in terms of surprising amount of knowledge? I don't know, man, because the surprising part is what's getting me is most of the people that I've had on, I already know that they're very knowledgeable people. You know, Jesse from JN Aquatics. You know, he's got a small channel, but he's breeding clownfish, and he's very knowledgeable about different stuff. Alex, I mean, we know Alex is an incredibly smart guy. So it's so hard. The surprising part is what's getting me, because I wasn't surprised by any of them. Every single guest I've had has just been amazing. I know that sounds, just like blowing smoke, but it really is true. Every single you're my 25th, I think, 26th. You're my 26th interview.
Wow.
And all 26 have just been my favorite part of YouTube. I know that sounds weird, me being involved in it, but getting to know all 26 of these awesome people has just been, I feel blessed by it. I feel lucky to be involved in it.
It doesn't sound weird to me at all, because this is kind of how it's done. And now, I don't know how old you are. I don't particularly care. But if you think about way back in the day, I mean, it sound like a couple of old people here, but there wasn't any kind of option to have anything like this. We're sitting in our garage. I'm in my garage making friends right now.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a beautiful thing. So it doesn't sound weird to me at all. I mean, when you finally get the opportunity to have these people on a stream and you're just sitting there shooting the what, it's fun. I mean,
it is fun. It is fun. And that's my favorite thing just in life, is getting to know more about people. I shouldn't say bothers. My wife comments on it, because no matter where we go, I make friends, or we go places and I see people I know. I like talking to people. When I went to the fish swap, I walked up to a table that was the club, and I started asking them questions and laughing and joking and having a good time. And that's my favorite part of life, is getting to know other people. At the same time, I'm very introverted too. Like, this takes a lot of energy to do, and I get very anxious. I was incredibly anxious, and then the guy that I had scheduled for tonight was late, so my anxiety level just went through the roof.
I've heard he's a real scumbag. I would never invite that guy to be on my stream.
All right. It's almost 8 o'clock, so let's see if there's any last questions here. Mike said, everybody, Rico, I was wretched. Mike, I disagree. Mike was one of the first 10, maybe. Here's the thing. Mike's had some health issues. My friend Robert, he has a stutter. Weldon Tanks, he has Tourette's. And I love those interviews, because I think there's other people out there with Tourette's or with a stutter or with health issues like Mike and myself that maybe aren't getting involved with the fish fam that much. I want to show them that there's other people out there too. You're not alone. Jump in. The water's fine. Come and join us. It's a great community. It's a very friendly community. You've got your trolls. Mm-hmm. I've been in a lot of communities. The trolls in the fish fam community are far fewer than any other community I've ever been involved in. And I've been involved in a lot of them over the years as an IT guy. So, technology was right up my alley. So, Mike, I don't think you were wretched. I think it was a great one, and it was a lot of fun.
I got a story from Aquashella that's similar to that, and Alex will appreciate this because he just had him on his stream a little bit ago. That's how I knew who he was. I was in the YouTube booth, and I think I was like physically and mentally exhausted. And I was looking down, and then I hear John, and it was Jay Wilson. I think it was Jay Wilson. It was definitely, I think it was Jay Wilson. I'm not going to say definitely, but I think it was Jay Wilson. I look up, and he's doing one of these at me. And I'm like, okay, here we go. What's Jay going to get me into now? And I go over, and he was standing with, and forgive me, I do not remember the gentleman's name, but it's the guest that Alex just had on that is completely blind and has never seen a fish in his life.
Oh, yes.
He is a fish keeper.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if he's been blind his whole life, but
no, he hasn't. But yeah, I know who you're talking about. The blind fish keeper. Yeah, I forget his name.
And the Jay said something to him like, okay, you need to figure out who this one was or whatever. And I was like, hey, how you doing? And the guy instantly knew it was me. That's KGtropicals from my voice, because that's what he does is listens to the videos. And then Jason came up, and we were all standing there talking. What an incredible experience that was.
Yeah.
This guy's never seen me and has no idea what I look like, but was sitting there telling me things about my videos. I was absolutely blown away by that.
Yeah.
So yes, this hobby has them from all different angles, and it's beautiful.
And that was a very inspiring interview to watch. That was, excuse me.
That
was a great one.
I haven't watched that with Alex yet, but I saw the thumbnail, and from the thumbnail, I recognized him. I was like, "That's the blind." And he had his glasses on, and he had his stick, so it was pretty obvious. Yeah. But I recognized him from the stream, or from the thumbnail of that, and that was a very, very special moment for me, for sure.
Brandon was his name.
Yes, there we go.
Yeah, that was a great. I loved watching that too, and again, that's exactly what I like to try and get people. I won't say get people like that to interview, but I want people that are maybe don't get out there that much and don't do live streams and things, but I think they're still a big part of the fish fam, and they still have a lot to offer. I think everybody has a lot to offer, and I just I love getting those people to come up and letting us learn more about them, and also maybe letting other people, like I said, that maybe wouldn't step forward, maybe saying, oh, hey, this guy can do it, maybe I can do it, and they join us too.
Yep.
Okay, sorry, I didn't mean to go off on a tangent there. I'm not seeing any other. John McKenzie would like to know, what non-YouTubers do you watch?
Oh boy,
non-fish tubers. I'm pretty sure he meant.
Am I supposed to pick a favorite?
Maybe just your top 10. No, just a couple.
If I had to pick a favorite YouTuber, it would probably be he's one of the biggest on the platform, Peter McKinnon. He's out of Toronto, and he's just he's a photographer, videographer, vlogger kind of thing. I absolutely love what he does. I guess it depends on what kind of videos we're talking about. Yeah. There's another channel that I'm absolutely obsessed with. It's called RR Buildings. It's a guy that owns a company building post-frame buildings. Mm-hmm. And it's just watching the process of building these giant warehouses or sheds or garages, workshops. I actually downloaded an entire series of his building a building to watch on the plane going to Aquashella. That was what I chose, to watch that. I do watch some political stuff that, we won't name what those are.
That's good.
Just because, we don't want to make people mad, depending on what side you're on. But I love a lot of car channels like Doug DeMuro, Hoovie's Garage. I mean, I watch more other stuff than I do fish videos, only because this is what I do all day long. So if I'm going to sit down and try to relax, it's hard to do that, so.
Now, I've also heard from a few other people that have bigger channels that they don't watch too many other fish videos because they're afraid of being too inspired by what that person is doing. Then you start talking like they do or pulling something in that they do. That doesn't affect you at all.
No.
Okay.
No.
And before,
it doesn't affect me. I'm not saying it wouldn't affect others, but it's not.
It's nothing you've ever.
I look at it more as inspiration than anything else. I don't think there's going to be anybody that's going to accuse me of copying them, and it's because I've. Not that you were saying that, but I'm saying I'm not afraid of that.
Yeah.
So if somebody does inspire me, in fact, Jason and I were just talking about that. Jason from Primetime Aquatics, It was like, we were actually talking about, we should get a group of like 5 or 6 YouTubers together and we all do the same video and see what happens. You know?
Yeah.
Because I'm going to do it my way. He's going to do it his way. And I mean, who cares? Like, I don't get caught up in all of that kind of stuff. I don't worry about, I better not watch Rico Stan because I'm going to start copying his stuff. I mean, that's just ridiculous.
Yeah. I've got nothing to copy. So, feel free. Before you got into YouTube, did you ever use YouTube to learn about different things? Yes.
And it was usually woodworking projects and like car stuff and all of that. I didn't really watch any aquarium stuff until I got back into the hobby. And you know what? This is kind of embarrassing, but before I got separated from my ex, which was in 2008, we had cable internet for like 6 months, and it was the most glorious thing ever. Up until that point, I had garbage internet forever. Yeah. And then, the marriage went to where, and that was gone. And so I never really had good internet to be able to just explore YouTube and all of these other things. It was always just like, all right, if I absolutely need to watch this, then I'm going to, it's going to take 45 minutes to watch a 10-minute long video. Yeah. So it wasn't really something that I was into. But once I got back into the hobby in 2010, it was like I had good internet and I was able to get into it and stuff like that. So that's when I started watching fish videos. So up until that point, it was all car stuff and woodworking stuff and all that.
See, again, I was an IT guy, so technology right up my alley. We had decent internet. We moved to New York in 2000, maybe late 99. I can't remember. Maybe it was either 99 or 2000. And we had good internet here. And I never once used YouTube as a learning medium until I got into fish keeping. There's something about keeping fish that it really just, it's a great platform for that. But I never used it to learn anything else. I never once. And I don't know why, but I do better reading things than I do watching, except for fish. I don't know why that is. There's something about, keeping fish that lends itself to YouTube as a perfect platform.
See, I'm the exact opposite. I was telling you about Norm Abram before. He's a guy that's a god to me. I used to get up at like 6:30 on Saturday mornings so that I could watch his show on PBS, because his show, it was called the New Yankee Workshop.
Okay, now I know.
Okay, so you with the flannel and the beard,
Yeah, now I know. The name just didn't hit me, but that hits me. Yeah, that I know.
He's the guy that inspired the Al Borland character on Tool Time. But I would get up to watch that show, and that show was very much like tutorial videos on YouTube, Yeah. And so I've always been interested in that, watching people create things and watching people work on things. It's always been my favorite thing to do. And so that's what I gravitated towards before I was watching fish. There was no Fishtube back then, but before I was watching anybody about fish on YouTube. Gotcha. There wasn't all that many to choose from. I came on board, but they were there.
I guess certain people just, can pick things up differently. Some people need to learn it. Some people just can read about it. I mean, watch it. There's all these different ways of learning.
Yeah, you show me how to do something, I'll have it. You give me something to read to learn how to do something, and you might as well just hang it up.
See, and that's all. And again, maybe as an IT guy, you read a lot of documentation. So maybe that's part of it. I was an IT guy for a very long time. And, you read a lot of documentation. So maybe that's why. I don't know. Anyways, you know what? It's after 8 o'clock. I'm sure I missed a whole bunch of questions. I missed a bunch of people. I didn't say hi to anybody. I'm just a horrible, horrible person, and you should all just unsubscribe and leave and never come back. John, I can't thank you enough for coming in and hanging out with us.
Well, I want to thank you and apologize once again for being late.
My wife's grandpa is 94, and he gave me this expression. He does it all the time, and I absolutely love it. If he doesn't like something, he just does this. He's deaf too, so he doesn't make any noise or anything. He just goes,
nah.
And I love it. It's a perfect expression. Nothing to worry about. So let's see. Next Monday we have Chattanooga Ed and I. We didn't do last night's stream because Ed was still in Georgia, and I didn't want to push him. So next Monday we'll have our geek out, and then next Tuesday Papa Shrimp will be with us. And if you would like to be interviewed, Rico at ricostan.com. Shoot me an email. It doesn't matter what size your channel is. I'd love to interview you. If you're involved with the Fish Fam, I'd love to add you to the list. I am scheduling like 10 weeks out, but I want to get to everybody at some point. There's a lot of Fish Fam people, and I want to get to everybody and learn about everybody. So don't hesitate. If you wouldn't mind me interviewing you, send me an email. Let me talk to you. Anything else you'd like to talk about? Anything coming up that you want to tell people about? Anything big? If you don't want to wait till Thursday?
I don't think so. I don't think we have anything big. I mean, no, not really. I mean, we kind of had a big deal happen last week, so yeah, we're kind of big dealed out for a while. But we do have some stuff coming on the website, but Lord only knows when it's going to get here.
Here's a couple of quick ones. Darlene Tanks would like to know, how did you propose to Lisa, or did she propose to you?
No, we didn't. It was. It's so lame. This is neither of our first marriage, or is neither the appropriate. I don't. Both of us have been married before, and it didn't work out all that well. And so, I was not. I'm a guy. It was just like, whatever. I mean, I'm going to be with you forever. I love you. So it was not really something I was ever. I'm making myself look like a jerk, but the way I looked at it was, we were married. I mean, we lived together for 11 years. Yeah. So, and she kind of started recently, like, okay, it's been long enough. Do I need to play that Beyonce song for you? I mean, and so it was just kind of a discussion thing that we talked about, and it was just like, okay, let's just do it. There wasn't really any proposal or anything like that. We actually entertained the idea of kind of faking it at Aquashella and then figuring out a way to like get married at Aquashella. But then we were like, well, there's no way we have enough time to do all of that, and we'll never be able to find somebody that's licensed or certified or whatever it is to be able to do it. And so we just did it on our own. But then we actually found out somebody that we know personally that is ordained or licensed, whatever it is, to be able to do wedding ceremonies. So we could have done it, but
that would have been pretty cool. That would have been pretty cool. All right. I'm gonna cut off because I keep scrolling up and seeing stuff. Again, I apologize if I missed your question. Appreciate each and every one of you coming in and hanging out with us. And thanks, John. And I do want to shoot you an email to actually for Lisa, just to ask if she wouldn't mind, if she's still in here. I'd love to interview you as well. That'd be amazing to have you guys up too. So
I am sure she would be happy to do it. And yeah, just gotta ask her.
Yeah, I will. All right, everybody. We'll see you on the next one. Take care. And again, I appreciate each and every one of you. Thanks so much.